Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of CookieCast. Today on CookieCast is the Darkest Timeline podcast. So you got me, just me, little old me, talking games, movies, TV, something that's been probably burning a hole in my mind for the last week, and anything else that comes into this tiny little brain of mine. If you're checking us out on YouTube, iTunes or SoundCloud, you can absolutely subscribe and it's the right thing to do. So do that now, I'll wait. There we go, cool. Good job, well done. Anyway, let's get cracking. So, here we go. This is CookieCast, the Darkest Timeline podcast. Interesting sound to start on. I just had a little drink. Hello, you alright? Can you hear me? I need to move this so that I can move this so that I can move me to get into the sweet spot. How you doing? You alright? I'm gonna turn that like that. There. Now we're talking. I can lean in. I can relax. So, how have you been? How's your week been? Been alright? Doing okay? Good. Oh. You know, those times when you feel like it's been like a million years since you last did something. It honestly feels like ages since I last recorded a podcast. And that's any kind of podcast. And in actual fact, it's been like 4 days or something. So, you know, not ages. But hey, let's, I think the list is meaty this week, but deceptive, because I think it's just a few like quick tidbits. Tidbits? Tidbits? Timbits? Timbits. The first thing on the list is entitled, When Do the Jobs End? I've been feeling a little... this is the thing, I don't know how to describe it. I've been feeling a little like very much like, what's the fucking point? To be blunt. Like, why do we keep doing things? Let me explain. It'd be better if I explain. So, it's like the washing up. You know, when you have like that point in time where you've probably got like, you know, a bit too much washing up. And then you set aside the time to do it and you really like, you go at it and you... Like those times when you have to like dry up halfway through so that you can free up the space to wash more dishes, sort of thing. And you go at it and like by the time you're finished and you wipe the side down and you pour the water away and you're just like, that was a job well done. And then what seems like 2 minutes later, there's a load of washing up that needs doing again. And... recycling. I'm going to talk about recycling in a bit, but I'm going to mention it as a job, a never-ending job, because it is a never-ending job. You separate the recycling. This is cardboard, this is plastic, this is a tin, this is a can. Then you put it in its respective boxes. Obviously, you've got to make sure that there's enough room, so you've got to find some kind of system for making everything fit. And then once you've got everything to fit, you have to then hope that you're not going to get too much of one thing on, not so that you're then not going to run out of space, which you always do. Certainly in my house, you always do. And then you got to put it out. You got to collect the boxes after the bin. I think because of this point in time where just all of these jobs are coming at once. I don't know if I'm starting to see the... What I want to say is the pointless nature of it all. But obviously it does have a point, but it just goes round and round and round and round and round. But I think the issue that I'm having is it's making me see it in other things. It's making me see it in my job. Like, oh, yeah, I've finished for the day, but, get to do it all over again tomorrow. And then it's like, oh, I'm working towards, like, the day I don't work or the weekend, but gonna be doing it all again at another point in time. So there's that. And then it's like, I'm going to talk about a little bit about working out on today's podcast. And I've even started thinking about it to do with that. I've even started thinking, when does the working out end? When is enough enough? When do I not have to run anymore? When do I not have to lift weights? And I feel like all of a sudden I'm starting to view everything as being largely pointless. And like I say, I realise there is a point to all these things. The jobs need doing, because if you don't do them, then they don't get done, and then they still need doing. But that in itself is part of it. I've considered, well, should I just get paper plates and plastic cutlery and then just dispose of it all? But then obviously the part of me that's obsessed with waste is like, well, that's very wasteful. So no, of course not. And I never thought that I would be in a position where I look at the things that I not necessarily enjoy, but that are necessary for my sanity, running, lifting weights, even to a degree like like playing computer games. It started to creep into that. Again, we'll come on to in a bit the game I'm playing at the moment, and there have been elements of playing it where I'm like, oh God, more to do, and then I catch myself, and I'm like, really? That's the way you're looking at it, and I have to reevaluate that thought and go with value for money, or other such things like that. But we'll come to all of that. But yeah, I can't shake this feeling of what's the point? Why am I? Why are we doing this? By the way, if you hear that noise, I don't know if you can hear that noise. It is not flatulence. It is my squeaky chair. At time of recording, I'm still not in the podcast studio / entertainment room / games room, as it is still out of action. I am in the bunker, still in the bunker, because the room is still out of action. And the new podcast studio is yet to be built, so you've got to sit in the bunker, haven't you? Yeah, right now I'm drinking a lovely cerveza. Delicious. I don't know if it's just like, is it all pointless? I read a thing recently, and it's stuck with me, and I don't know if this is also part of it. And it was a thing about, like, I'll paraphrase it, but it was all like, why did we decide that like money and greed and those sorts of things were the important things, rather than deciding that lying on our back in the ocean and eating fruit was the most important thing. And it stuck with me. It's just like, yeah, why are we ultimately just working ourselves to death when there's so much more we could be doing with our time? I keep coming back to like the places that have adopted the 4-day working week. Now, I already do a 4-day working week. Allows me the opportunity to look after my youngest. And I appreciate the opportunity to be able to do that. But what if, as a society, we all moved to a 4-day working week? What would that look like? And I think we all know what it would look like. People would generally be happier. And it would be that step closer to achieving some sort of happiness. And I know that there's the theory that people just wouldn't ever be satisfied. And then next thing it's like, well, what about a 3-day working week? But I agree with that. What about a 3-day working week? What happens when your life becomes less about the working yourself to death and more about the living life? What happens then? Do we all get bored? Is there not enough stuff in the world for us to not get bored? Honest question, if you were paid the amount that you're paid now, which I know is never enough, but you only had to work 3 days a week, would you be bored? Would you be like, man, I'm going to have to get a part-time job? I need to fill that void, fill that time. Or would you be like, this is it, this is the dream? Anyway, something to maybe ponder about while I move on. So, I was saying about the jobs, and one of those jobs is the recycling. I can't stress enough. Something that you might not know about me is that I hate waste. I hate wasted food. I hate it when, how we're all like, oh, we need to stop this like one-use plastic type thing. Yeah, it seems like companies just find more and more interesting ways to add plastic to stuff. Like, I get it with like toys and stuff, but it's all sorts. I took a label off a woolly hat the other day, and I'm like, this thing's got 4 bits of plastic, which 2 of them, fair enough, I can probably see a use for, but I'm sure you could find a different way to do this. The other 2 are just like garnish, plastic garnish. Like, for fuck's sake. So, here's my thing. I hate plastic. I wish that we would just move to a place where plastic wasn't a thing. But as previously, I'm sure I've mentioned before, there's money in plastic. I imagine companies that make the little plastic things that go through tags on clothing wouldn't want you to suddenly stop using them. So, I get it. There's money in plastic. But can't we just look at, hey, you make plastic for a living. How about you make glass instead? I hate plastic. I hate it. So here was the scenario. I've been giving the puppy high powered treats to get him to do what I want him to do. Mostly in the form of chicken and ham. So this is all designed to help him with his training, and again, we'll come on to that in a bit. So, finished a packet of chicken, and I was like, right, okay. So the box bit of it is plastic. The top, I don't know what you'd call it, the thing that you peel back, is also plastic. I'm like, we're on a winner here, kids. Double plastic. This is absolutely going in the plastic recycling. And on the top of the container, whatever you want to call it, the plastic thing, there was a sign, and it said, "Not yet recyclable." And I was like, what the actual fuck? Why not? It's double plastic. If it was plastic and like the foil sort of things that you can sometimes get, that's mixed recycling. I understand the principle of mixed recycling cannot be recycled, which is why we try and avoid it. But it was double plastic. Why the hell isn't it not recyclable? As I'm sure you can imagine, much was said about this disgusting situation. Why? There are all sorts of things. What I would call a dog treat bag. None of them are recyclable. And, you know, until I switched to giving like chicken and ham, we were going through like 4, 5, 6 of those bags a week. Not recyclable. Here's an idea. Put your freaking dog treats in something that is recyclable. And here's another thing. Something that's annoyed me recently about this whole recycling stuff. A supermarket that will remain nameless, local-ish to me, has announced, hey, we care about the environment. And what we're going to do is we're going to be the biggest reusable supermarket going. And I'm like, tell me more. They're like, well, we've got all these things. You can buy a tub or you can bring your own tub. Get everything that you want. Get it weighed. Pay for it. Out the door. I'm like, yes. Abso-freaking-lutely. Right up to the point that I realised that all of the stuff that's, you know, no packaging, boom. None of it is anything that I need. So that was wildly disappointing. It just annoys me. It annoys me when companies mix their product. So, something recently that's come up is packaging for dolls, like a Barbie. The back of it, cardboard, front of it, plastic. Winds me up. I just don't feel like we're doing ourselves any favours. And it just strikes me that that's probably for the betterment of other people's wallets, which whatever. No, not whatever, but you know what I mean. So here's something. I wrote down on the list, dog training update. Like that was supposed to mean something. And I keep looking at it going, what did I write that down for? I know last week I talked about like the dog trainer coming. So the situation as it stands, excuse me, he's actually doing a lot better. Not perfect, not brilliant. If you take a walk and you look at it as 100%, 80% of it is okay. About 30% of that is actually what you would consider to be quite good. It's usually at the back end. But don't expect any kind of good walk situation if he comes in contact with another dog. Because we were out on Sunday and I described him as acting like a serial killer because he came in contact with multiple dogs. And at one point I had to like pick him up to stop him getting traction on the ground to be able to try and launch himself at other dogs. Other than that, though, things are going great. Thanks for asking. No, I got to give him his dues. He's young, and he is doing a lot better. Now we have to just give dogs as wide a berth as possible. Which obviously isn't going to be able to continue for long, but I think at the moment we just need to get past the other dog. So yeah. One thing that has been super nice is it was bonfire night on Friday. Had the girls, did some sparklers, got some giant sparklers. Had considered getting some actual fireworks, but in the end I wasn't 100% sure how they might react to them. So I thought, err on the side of caution and not get any and just go with the sparklers, which obviously it's like, hey, let's go do some sparklers. And my middle daughter's like, Daddy, you should have got some fireworks. I was like, darling, I didn't know how you would react to fireworks, so I didn't in the end. But if you think we need some, I'll get some next year. Oh yeah, definitely get some fireworks. This is the same child who an hour later was crying because the fireworks were too loud, apparently. I wasn't there for that, so we did sparklers and things. Obviously, you've got the people setting fireworks off the day before, people setting fireworks off the week before, and everything in between. So Friday night fireworks, Saturday night fireworks, Sunday night fireworks. Touch wood, nothing this evening. But what I can say is, other than the absolute monster bangs, thank just all of the dog gods. The dog doesn't seem to be bothered by fireworks, which is fantastic, because I'm not entirely sure just how I would have coped if it had been the I don't like fireworks dog. A couple of points in time he thought it was the cats. He was like, tell them cats to shut the fuck up, I'm trying to sleep. It's like, it's not the cats, it's fireworks. Yeah, well, whatever. I want to revisit something I've spoken about before, largely because I feel like I can't quite get across something. On a Friday, before, it's usually after my run, but before I work out, I have this moment where I realise that the end is in sight. I've just got to get through one workout, one run, and another workout, and then I'm done for the week. Which then in turn means that it's cheat meal Saturday, which then in turn means that it's rest day Sunday. Brings us back to Monday. So it's probably one of the points in time, if not the point in time, where I'm the most tired. I'm the most worn out from running and working out. And then obviously, you go on to do the workout. You've got the rest of the day, and then it brings you to Saturday. Saturday, I've spoken about this before. I've spoken about the sweet spot. Saturday is a thing of beauty, a thing of magic, a thing of wonder. Because on a Saturday, you get out there, you get that run done, you get it done nice and early. Get the dog out for a walk, get back, get straight in the garage, get that workout done with the strength and vigour of a man possessed, or a lady possessed. I'm an equal opportunity possessor. Then it happens. The realisation that you can put all your workout gear in the wash and you can just sit in the pocket and enjoy the fact that for 36 hours there's no working out, there's no running, and there's a cheat meal incoming. So, I've spoken about this before, but it's absolute. It's the best. It's the absolute best. This is where my life is right now. But this is the best. So, as we all know, what's going to happen then is you get to Saturday afternoon and you can barely keep your eyes open because you're absolutely wiped out from the week. But I get super giddy, I get super excited, I get super it's Saturday afternoon, and I get a bit silly with it. It's the absolute best. I can't express it. I've tried to describe it to others. I don't think they get it, but I'll keep trying. So, what's left? Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm thinking recently that I need to run further. I've got into a bit of a running rut. The sort of thing where I only have so much time, probably about half an hour most of the time. And I know that I can do the same run each day in half an hour. So that's that. More recently, I've realised that I've been stuck in this rut before. And there's no progression. You're not pushing yourself. You're not trying to run further. You're not trying to run faster. You're not trying to do any of that. It's just going out. It's not doing the bare minimum. It's just going out and getting it done. Run the distance in half an hour. So then I start thinking, I'm like, I need to go further. How would I do that, though? How would I go further when I've only got a certain amount of time? But I then cast my mind back to, a few months ago where I was doing 5-mile runs. And I wonder at this point in time whether that would even be possible now. Presumably not. So I'm stuck in this loop of, I kind of know that I need to go further, or at least try to go further, but at the same time, I'm not capable for various reasons, time restraints, ability. So, yeah, I'm a bit stuck, really. The last thing I wanted to talk about, now, here's something that I've tried to avoid talking about this for ages now. And I'm not going to go too deep, too in depth to anything. But a little note on the pandemic. For all of the time that this has been a thing, I can heartily say, hand on heart say, that I have never seen so many things be affected by what's going on as I have right now. In the space of a week, I went to multiple different places. In the space of one day, I went to multiple different places where I was informed for various different reasons the service that I was supposed to have been being offered, I couldn't receive a certain level of service because of pandemic reasons. In the last few days, recently had the nursery where my youngest goes close with what it turns out to be a severe case where basically half the staff have been taken down by it. And it's just this, for everything that we seem to be being told that everything's, much better now and we're basically back to normal, whatever normal is, and all of this, from what I'm seeing and from what I'm experiencing, it's the worst it's ever been. And I don't understand how the two things go together. It's that everything's fine while sitting in a room that is on fire. It's so weird. I've not known it up till now to be affecting things to this level. Yet, all we're told is everything's fine. So like I say, I try and avoid talking about it because it's everything. But I just wanted to make a point of saying I've never seen it affect things the way it's affecting stuff now. Even at the very start. Even when you couldn't buy toilet roll. It wasn't like this. So, that's my 2 penneth worth. Let's talk entertainment stuff. I've actually got some interesting little bits and bobs for you this week. I've moved on to watching series 2 of Burn Notice. What I can say is this: I'm not really putting any time and or effort into watching it. And that's not to say that I'm not enjoying it, and that's not to say it's bad. I just don't have that much excess time at the moment. There's always a job that needs doing. There's always somebody that needs something. So, whether it's a child or an animal or me personally, something always needs something. So to take X amount of time out of the day to watch a series that I've already seen, it doesn't feature overly high on the agenda. But I chip away. I watch little bits here and there. Something that I have watched this evening, literally in the last hour or so. I watched series 1 and 2 of What We Do in the Shadows, which I personally feel is some of the best TV we've had in a long time. But recently I rewatched it with Leanne and was then informed that Series 3 was on Now TV. So we finished Series 1 and 2. This evening we started Series 3 with Episode 1 and Episode 2. Short version is it's one of the best things that's been on TV in a while. And they've got a really good formula, they've got a really good format, and it kind of just works. So it's a bit like no matter what they're doing, it works. So yeah, 2 episodes into the newer series, and it is good. I'm enjoying it. Taika Waititi was in the first episode. Oh, excuse me. So yeah, it was good. Speaking of Taika Waititi, I watched a film that had him in at the weekend. I watched Free Guy. Now, originally when Free Guy was first announced, I wasn't overly bothered. But the more I saw about it, the more it piqued my interest. I was a bit like, oh, I wonder what's going on here. And then there was the whole thing about it just dropping onto Disney Plus. No, paid premium or nothing. It was just available whilst it was still at the cinema, which was just weird. But gift horse, mouth and all that. So I went to watch that just out of curiosity more than anything. I know it's all, it's about computer games, so you're bound to like it kind of thing. So a few weeks have passed, and eventually Saturday night rolls around. It's like, what's the movie? Oh, let's watch Free Guy. Okay, let's watch Free Guy. So, put Free Guy on. It's probably one of the most meh films I've seen in a while. It wasn't good. It wasn't bad. It was just meh. I'm a bit weird with Ryan Reynolds. I feel like some people, once they've played a role and then they play other roles, it's a bit like Chris Pratt. I honestly can't think of a film that I will watch Chris Pratt in that doesn't have Guardians of the Galaxy in the title, because I just don't see any point. Also, anything I've seen Chris Pratt in that hasn't been Guardians of the Galaxy since Guardians of the Galaxy has been garbage. So, and for me, Ryan Reynolds, if he's not playing Deadpool, I'm not really bothered. And it's one of those things, I had time for him, but at this point in time, he is just Deadpool. So when he plays other characters in other films and stuff, I'm a bit like, I believe he has said that he's taking a break from films. Like, he's got this new one coming out with Dwayne Johnson and Gal Gadot. It looks mildly interesting, but let's face it, is he going to be playing Deadpool in it? Because that's all you can see now. So you've got Ryan Reynolds, you've got a guy playing his best friend, which I can safely say I don't think I've ever seen in anything. You've got a guy from Stranger Things, you've got a woman who I'm sure has been in other stuff, and Taika Waititi. Couple of things about this. Number one, it's ultimately owned by Disney, and there was a point toward the back end of the film where I was like, yeah, this is the reason that Disney shouldn't own everything, because it went from Captain America's shield to a lightsaber. That's not too much of a spoiler, I don't think. And I was like, yeah, just because you own everything doesn't mean that you can then just put everything in everything else. It doesn't really work like that. As a film, I found that it had a real Truman Show vibe to it. Because ultimately it's a guy that doesn't know he's being watched to some degree. But it really felt like very much like the Truman Show. So you've got this situation where you've got Taika Waititi playing like a, I don't know if he's just like the head of a video games company. And although the majority of the film was very meh, I found that the character that Taika Waititi played was basically I don't know how to word it, like a sign of the video games industry, because the character he played is what I imagine sits at the top of every video game company out there, like all the big major ones. A guy who just does not give two shits about the people playing the games. Because that's how the video game industry feels to me these days. I feel it's run by people who, I hate to keep going on about it, but only care about the money and don't care about the product. And it's an industry that was built on people who cared about a product. That was their main focus and their main goal. And because of that, it's an industry that suffers. And yes, it'll be trillions and trillions of dollars, dollar bills. So it's not like it's, suffered from just caring about the money. But the quality of the product has suffered wildly. So although as a film I was just a bit like, yeah, okay, it's fine. It's fine. That was the thing. It's fine. I did find that this character, this Taika Waititi character, was just a screaming statement of the video game industry. And I think it just pissed me off. So I don't know if that helped or hindered the film. It was fine. I can't tell you anything one way or the other. It wasn't a bad film. It wasn't amazing. It was just something to watch on a Saturday night. Speaking of computer games, I am still playing Far Cry 6. I wanted to talk about a couple of the not so good things about Far Cry 6 before I go on to talk about some of the better elements. I've mentioned this before, I know I have, but I want to bring it up again because it's really starting to fuck me off. The whole thing about when you go into a new area for whatever reason and they turn off the HUD. So you've got no map, you've got no map markers, you've got nothing apart from the thing on the screen saying which area you've gone into. It's massively unhelpful when you're trying to travel somewhere. It's annoying. It's super annoying. That's one. Number two, when a game is broken and you don't know that it's broken. A few too many times recently I've been doing missions and I'm like, I can't work out how to do this mission. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I don't know what's wrong with it. Why won't let me do it? I'm pressing the button. I'm doing the thing. And half an hour later I'm like, I'm clearly missing something. I'm going to have to look it up. And then you look it up, or you watch a video on YouTube, or you read a bit of a walkthrough type thing for it, and basically the game is just broken at that point in time. So you have to reload it and then it works fine. But I don't know if it was Saturday night, maybe. The game was just having a broken night. So it was everything. Every mission I did, I had to reload. It was just hella broken. But it's the fact that you don't know that it's broken because everything's working fine. So there's that. On the plus side, on the upside, I can hands down at this point in time say that this is the best Far Cry game since Far Cry 3. They really have done a really good job from that perspective. Also, it's the game that just keeps on going. Like areas where you think you've like finished, you'll get like mission, not like huge missions, but like little missions to do back in those areas. It's a game that wants you to keep exploring even when you think you're done. It's a game that wants you to keep playing. And there's a part of me that's like, well, why? What do they gain out of it? How do they make money out of this? But then I have to rein it in and think, maybe they just want you to play their game. Which is a foreign concept these days, but maybe they just want you to play the game and keep playing the game and keep coming back to the game. Something that struck me about games with weapons where you pick up new weapons. There's only one game I've really played in a long time that's ever done the thing where if you pick up a weapon, whatever weapon you pick up is better. And that was Breakpoint. Ghost Recon, Breakpoint, which is a terrible game, but they really did get the weapon system right. It annoys me in games where you pick up a new weapon and it's not as good as the weapon you picked up that you already own. It's like, so what was the point? How about you just don't bother? Just give me 4 weapons at the start of the game and give me the option to make those 4 weapons better. Simple, done, problem solved. It's a very strange concept. As a whole, as a game, I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it a lot. I'm still playing it. I keep trying to convince myself to buy other games or find ways to get other games. And then I just keep going, no, I've got Far Cry to play. I'll just play that until that's done. Which I can't see being any time soon. So, yeah. It's fun. And as we know, ladies and gentlemen, fun is the one thing that's missing from computer games these days. Yeah. I haven't played any VR. I do really want to play some VR, but time and a dog that thinks it's hilarious to jump up and hit you in the balls when you're playing VR is against me, I'm afraid. One last thing I did want to say is I don't normally do this, but there is a game that's come up that I'd like to play. So much so that I'm actually considering moving my Xbox One to a different room so I can play it. But Forza Horizon 5 comes out today or tomorrow or something. Had amazing reviews. And although I'm not a fan of the Forza franchise, I love the Forza Horizon games. And I've played them all up to this point. And I properly. I really enjoy them. So that is definitely on the cards to a degree. I do want to stick with Far Cry 6. So there we go. That's it. That's all for this week. Like I said, the list was long, but it was probably quite quick. Thanks for listening along, and I'll catch you guys next week. Bye-bye. So there you go. What do you think of that? Another one done. Another one gone. Another week gone. Another week closer, if you know what I mean. Please do subscribe to the podcast. It means a lot to me. It means a lot to us. It means a lot to the channel. And it helps us and it helps you. You can also check out our website, thecookiecast.com. She's small, but she's mighty. She'll let you know how to get in touch with us, whether it's through social media or email. That's it for this one. Until next time, I'm going to say bye, and I'll see you then.